So let's go on to the main event from yesterday or last night over here in, not over in the UK. Sorry, what am I talking about? It was in Saudi Arabia. It was Joshua versus Usyk, the rematch. We had quite a bit of controversy, I guess. The scoring was kind of out of whack, I'd say, especially just the one scorecard anyway. But ultimately, Usyk got the decision. It was a split decision. Probably should have been a unanimous. He retains all his titles that he beat Joshua for previously. Joshua had some kind of mental breakdown after the fight and all sorts of bizarreness going on. Josh, I'll come to you. Have you managed to see the fight? Hopefully you have done, because I've not checked beforehand. But what did you make of the main bout from last night?
Hey, yes, I was able to catch it. I caught all of that action, and man, Alexander Usyk, I just has to say bravo, congrats, because I felt that he was going to come back into this fight a bit stronger, better, and more ready this time around, because he just seems to have that type of mentality and makeup. And to Joshua's credit, he came out and he looked like he improved somewhat. He had some moments there in the fight where he looked to be the dominant heavyweight, the Joshua that we expected him to be. And he was using his offense to dictate such. But in the end, I think this was an example of how ultimately skills pay bills. You know, boxing sometimes looks can be deceiving, and if you and seeing Joshua, especially from a casual perspective, you know, you'd probably think that a guy like Usyk coming up from cruiserweight wouldn't have much of a chance, but ultimately Usyk has proved to be one of the best boxers in the sport, period. He's been pound for pound ranked for a long period now, and he's definitely knocking on the door of number one. And by some instances or cases, he is number one in some people's eyes as well. So I think this just further proves that. And the sky's the limit for Usyk. It's just a matter of whether he gets that opportunity to become undisputed. And I did think that Joshua, on the other hand, he gave it his all, and it's like that sometimes. As far as, hey, there's always someone out there who could potentially beat you, and this was the case. Usyk has been a better man. As they say, if you stick around long enough, you fight long enough against high-level competition, you'll eventually lose to someone. And I think this is just the case. Joshua has done pretty good thus far with what he's been able to accomplish in such a short period. But Usyk, in a sense, has his number, just as Tyson Fury has Deontay Wilder's number. So maybe we'll get some clarity here at heavyweight.
Yeah, Alex, we'll come to you on that. Do you think that Usyk will go on to fight Fury? We were touching on it just before Josh came back onto the call, that Fury, obviously, he needs to keep himself in the limelight and get some attention. He was posting on Twitter and Instagram and wherever that, you know, let's get that fight on. He's been calling Usyk a jumped up middleweight and things like that in the past. It's the big fight that we need, don't we? And boxing needs, because obviously heavyweights are the stellar division. Everyone's interested in the heavyweights. We need to unify all of those titles, even though Fury did say he was retired. Clearly it isn't going to be the case. He'll make a lot of money in the Usyk fight. He'll also then make a lot of money in a Joshua fight if he were to face Joshua after that. And it has to happen, doesn't it? Give us your thoughts on the prospect of that fight, who you think would win, and also on Usyk's performance last night, Alex.
Yes, you know, Tyson Fury is still seen retired, not retired. 3 retirements, 3 coming back from retirements. Number 1 heavyweight in the world, and yes, heavyweights, like you said, they are the big bad dudes in boxing. When we have 2 great heavyweights in boxing, it makes for a healthy following. It makes headlines. It seems like the world stops when we get two big heavyweights in there throwing down. So with Usyk winning once again, how could you not want to see him against Fury? 6'8", 280 pounds or 60 pounds, whatever he does. You know, he'll balloon up in weight, come a little more slender. This guy Tyson Fury is just amazing to watch. You never know what he's gonna do. Yesterday he says he's come out of retirement. In 2 days he may say no, never mind. I don't want to fight anymore. And then next thing we know, we'll have a big fight announced. They'll be making loads of money. Everybody in the world will be talking about it. So hopefully we can get it made. Hopefully whatever Tyson Fury wants, they give it to him, and we get these two guys in. I mean, with what happened last night, Joshua still came out robotic to me. How
Yeah.
6'9". Sorry, Boz. But I love the body attack. But Usyk was just too good for him. He was being able to control him with his lead hand. Landing up jabs. Moving around the ring gracefully. Man, I was screaming at the TV, just Joshua, please go to the body. But you got to give it to AJ. You can tell he really let it all hang out there. He pressed forward, and he tried his best. I mean, we saw it after the fight. He was highly upset, threw the belts out the ring, yelled at somebody, stormed out, came back in, and then went on I'm trying to be respectful, but a little bit of a strange rant once he got that mic. But I definitely want to see AJ back, and I'm gonna keep with the same energy. Give me Wilder, AJ, please and thank you.
Yeah, we'll come on to that as well, definitely. I'll just to make a couple of points on that as well. I think, like you said, Joshua I thought he fought a good fight, and I think he was improved from the first fight. And to be honest, I thought he would have come out of this fight with, his reputation wasn't damaged as such because of his performance was actually very good, and he pushed Usyk. He did some damage to him in that ninth round, I think it was. But Usyk has just proven time and again why he's one of the greatest boxers currently, possibly over the last few generations. And there's no shame in that. Losing to the better man. It was unfortunate that after the fight happenings has kind of tarnished things a little bit, but really AJ's performance was good, and it shows that he could make some adjustments and improvements from the previous fight when people thought that maybe he'd already kind of hit a peak. Maybe that's not quite the case. He's still kind of one of the best of the rest. Maybe there is a question against Wilder who wins, and that's why that fight would be amazing to see and make, and hopefully we might get that down the line. But yeah, just his actions after the bout was very bizarre, like we've touched on. It looked like he was accepting of the result at first, and he was posing with the Ukrainian flag, and then it just seems like he turned all of a sudden, and that's when the issue with the belts, where he kind of threw them around, and it looked like he was just going off in a huff and sulking to the back, and then he decided, no, actually I'm going to go back to the ring. And I think he was trying to be dignified and pay Usyk kind of backhanded compliments when he was in there talking to him, but it just kind of came across as ranty and getting in his face a bit and a bit disrespectful. And I don't think that was the intention, to be honest, but obviously it was highly emotional at the time. But yeah, he kind of ended up going on a little bit on the microphone like a drunken uncle at a wedding, and it was a little bit embarrassing by the end of it. I've actually just noticed as we've come on the stream there that he's put out a couple of tweets, Joshua, so I'm just going to read these out before we move on. It says, I wish Usyk continued success in your quest for greatness. You're a class act champ. Yesterday I had to mentally take myself into a dark place to complete for the championship belts. I had 2 fights, one with Usyk, one with my emotions, and both got the better of me. I'll be the first to admit I let myself down. I acted out of pure passion and emotion, and when not controlled it ain't great. I love the sport so much, and I'll be better from this point on. Respect. So I guess that's good to see. That was posted like literally 20 minutes ago. He's obviously had a kind of a bit of a word with himself, and he's making some good noises there. But yeah, like I said, I don't think he did anything out of spite or to be disrespectful. It was just all highly charged emotion that was just got the better of him at the time. And hopefully, you know, it doesn't gloss over his decent performance in there. And we'd originally touched on what might happen after the fight if Joshua was to lose again in our last live stream. And I kind of touched on, does he retire? Does his pride take such a hit that he just wants to retire now he's lost again? But hopefully, you know, it sounds like he wants to come back even stronger from that tweet, and there's still some really good fights for him out there. And as we touched on, you know, to see him in against Wilder would be amazing. Would there be any of that? Might be like difficult to make, or one to go to get made a bit further down the line, and he'd probably want to have a bit of an easier comeback fight before then. Josh, I'll throw it to you. Do you think that there's anyone that kind of stands out name-wise that might be a good next opponent for AJ?
Yeah. Of course, the fight I want to see, as Vega mentioned as well, is him versus Wilder. I don't think that one would happen first. And they're probably going to want to get him back in winning form more than anything. So I could see him being in there with the likes of, say, maybe Derek Chisora to get back to his winning ways. That would be a good one. Derek Chisora, I know they're friends and all, but maybe that's one Chisora's looking for. A big payday. That would be an opportunity as such. I think Chisora is tough enough for being able to provide a good fight for him, and it's a fight that AJ can certainly win. I think somewhere along those lines is probably where they'll go. But certainly, the one I want to see, that I wanted to see for a while, is him versus Wilder. And with Wilder fighting here soon, the stars could align at some point, maybe in 2023.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully that does happen. It has to happen. It's like we said last time, it's still the most explosive fight out there. It'd be really good to get that one on. Okay, just have a quick look in the chat there. Baz was saying that doesn't like Joshua, used to kind of like him, but he's shown himself as an maniacal jerk. That was a tongue twister for me. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Joshua has, for the past 10 years, been surrounded by yes men and people telling him how great he is, and he's kind of, up until the last couple of years, he always had everything his way. He always got the wins. And he's always had a lot of pressure on him. You know, he's got a lot of sponsors, and he's the face of the sport, especially in the UK. And yeah, you know, as an Olympic gold medalist, that's the kind of pressure and praise that gets heaped on you, and he's had to deal with it for a long time. And I think it all kind of came to a bit of an eruption last night at the end of that fight. But you know, it's a highly charged situation. Hopefully, we can move on and past it, and we see him in with some more great fights in the future.